This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Monty Moore with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carey Ann with CMG Financial and My Mortgage Team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along and subscribe at talkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com. That's questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Welcome back, Monty.
Welcome back, Carey Ann.
It's another week, and we've got Mr. Jason Hoover here.
I really got to come up with my own intro line.
You do. We need to add him back to the little beginning, the intro.
Really
so if y'all can think of one for me, put it down in the comments.
I love it.
Please,
yes,
please.
do that. What
That's
would
right.
Jason like to say at the beginning of everything?
What would Jason say?
So what are we talking about today? I think it's a good one. What is the topic, though?
It's what every real estate professional needs to be aware of and to consider and think about and be intentional about, and that is leverage.
Leverage.
How do you leverage yourself as a real estate professional, and why would you want to do that?
Okay. That is a really good topic because there is only so many hours in the day.
And
Well,
it's
not
the
for
only
you,
way to win
apparently.
back hours.
Huh?
It's the only way to win back hours.
That's absolutely right. That's the point.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, yes. Well, before we get started, we just want to do a quick shout out to our amazing sponsor, Music City Removal. They are the #1 junk removal service in Nashville. From residential, commercial, and construction, they're experts in ridding you of junk. Their costs include labor and dumping fees without any hidden or added expenses. Whether you need a full clean out or just one item removed, they have you covered.
The Music City Removal team knows the importance of respect and trust while in someone else's home. They understand the inconvenience of junk left behind by previous homeowners and tenants and are determined to provide an affordable and customer-focused junk removal service that puts you first. For an on-site estimate, just go to musiccityremoval.com. That's musiccityremoval.com.
Yes, Music City Removal, because clutter ain't cute. No, it ain't.
It ain't.
It ain't. It ain't. Well, talking about leverage today, I think this is so important. And I'm excited to hear your take on it and how we can help maybe bring back more hours to the real estate professional.
I think it's really a great topic for the three of us to talk about because honestly, I'm willing to bet that between the three of us, we put probably more time in than the average bear out there. And how do we do that? Carey Ann, especially you. I mean, I don't know how you do what you do, being a mom and a wife and a super mortgage person. And
I think I figured it out, Monty.
How does she do it?
She has a twin we don't know anything about.
That's what it must be.
That is true. That is true. Well, I do think I learned a long time ago you have to surround yourself with very like-minded and successful people that fill in the blanks that you're not very good at doing, right? And so I'm so blessed to have been taught that. So building a team a long time ago was really important, and being able to manage that to certain levels of expectation, because it is a huge job to be able to do that, but also working closely, really closely to the partnerships that I have with the real estate community. And I think working closely with your folks over that are executives at home warranty companies or your title companies, or your inspectors. It takes a village to close a transaction, and how can we all work together? A great coach told me once, you team up with other people, like-minded people that are selling the same person, right? So if my job is to sell and I'm looking to make connections with the real estate agent, who else is looking to make connections with the same real estate agent? You team up and you make a joint force coming together, providing lots of value for that particular individual will help, make that connection a little stronger. And so that's actually how the Real Estate Blaze was created. That's kind of what we were taught a long time ago, and three different industries came together because we were all selling to the same individual, which is the real estate agent. So that's kind of the same concept, and maybe what we're talking about today is how you can join forces to really create something bigger in the long run.
What's an agent? Jason, you have a lot of experience with newer agents that are taking, maybe growing from the ground up. Do you recommend that they, when you talk about leverage, that they team up with somebody right out of the box, or do you recommend that they hire people, or do you recommend they get services like a contract to close? What's your recommendation?
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's one of the first things that we start talking about, because the way I approach it is that this is a business. We're going to treat it like a business right out of the gate.
Yeah,
and if
just pause there for a second. I'm sorry. For those agents listening, please hear what he just said. Let's treat this like a business. I know it just sounds so cliche and so unimportant and so obvious, but let's treat it like a business.
Right.
It starts that way.
Oh,
Right.
so important for sure.
Yeah, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have to hire out, people to take care of certain things. You're not somebody that can wear every hat and do an exceptional job. Do what you're great at. And yes, you're starting out. You don't have as much or as large of a bank account that that you can go hire. A marketing team, a social media team. Contract to close, all of that stuff.
Right.
So what is important? Well, you start working on it, and you build your business, and you build it in a smart way where you layer on more and more as you grow. Okay.
Layer.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't I've seen too many people that will go out and spend so much money, and then 2 months from now they're out of business.
Right.
So, and one of the great things to do right off the bat, you can have a contract to close. That's going to win back so many hours, and that you pay out at the closing table.
Right.
And so, and I will even challenge somebody that says, well, you don't need to have somebody do your work for you. I see that all the time on these forums and stuff. Well, you know what? If they are great at doing that, then I am actually doing a disservice to my clients. That's my argument to you, because others will say, well, it's your job. No, it's not. It's my job to make sure it's done properly. And so a contract to close is a fantastic first hire. And the great thing is you don't have to pay insurance or anything with that. It's a per deal transaction.
Why be the bad guy? And I'm not saying contract to close guys are the bad guy, but let them be the bulldog.
Yeah.
Let them call the lender on a regular basis, which they do if you're working with an amazing contract to close. Let them be the organized person. If you're in sales and you do the DIS test and you do these animal tests and all these things, I'm not organized.
Right.
I'm pure DI, there's no organization in the midst of any of that. But I'm really great at, and I need to stay within my lane. So hiring out that organization piece that is awesome at the CS or,
Are you great at taxes?
Taxes?
Yeah.
Was I supposed to file those? You gotta love me. I am the first to just get to my personal life a little later. I put everybody before me. But yes, I don't do my own taxes. No.
Right. It's because
I probably could, but that's not my lane. You're right.
No, but guess what? If you had to do it, you're going to have to pay somebody to do. I do. I have somebody else to do it because the money that I'm paying them is a lot less than the money that I'm missing of me trying to do it and not even sure if I'm going to do it right.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And that's the mindset you have to have when you're in business for yourself.
I see a lot of people go out and start spending tons of money on marketing, and it's the wrong marketing. And I don't want to tell them let's not do that.
Don't throw money at a problem.
No.
It's not going to just fix it.
Yeah, there's other ways to utilize that same dollar in a way that can make you, a lot more. So pausing and really, I love what you talked about is, be the CEO of your own business, right? So you have to have a business plan. You have to fill in the voids that you are not very good at and really allow you to shine and stay within your lane. I think that's so super important. So what are other ways of leverage? What else?
Well, Jason, I think you really hit something that's really, really very, very important for the listeners, and that is the simplest thing I think. And without teaming up with somebody, I think you have two choices once you get going in this. Either you team up with somebody who's got talents opposite of yours, that you totally trust.
Yeah.
But remember, partnerships like that are not easy, and they don't often succeed. They will succeed, and when they do, it's awesome. But you better be really cautious on the front end and get everything in writing, because the well-intentions are fabulous until there's a problem, and that's when all falls apart. But the simplest thing to do is get that contract to close person. I think it sounds like really obvious, but I can't believe the pushback that I hear personally on the topic, especially from more experienced agents. The argument is, well, they need to learn how to do the basics anyhow, so let them do that the first couple of transactions. That makes about as much sense as saying, well, I'm going to go fly out to California, but before I do, I'm going to walk just to make sure I know how to get there properly. Or I want to work. I want to drive a car, but first I'm going to figure out how to change the oil or change the spark plugs or whatever. You would never do that, but yet people are recommended, all the time to do that. when it comes to real estate transaction. And here's the factor. Here's the absolute truth. And I've been doing this a long time, and I tell you, I've been guilty of it. But either way, the truth is this: momentum is critical to ever succeed at a high level in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
Both know.
Amen.
That.
Yep.
And you will never realize true momentum, not your full potential anyhow, if you're insisting on hanging on and controlling the details.
That's right.
Those things that you can delegate. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're able to do a couple transactions a month and do everything yourself. That's cool. There's no judgment in that. But what if you handed those things off that you could pay somebody $10 or $12, $15 an hour to do while you went out and got another transaction? But you can't do that because you're busy mothering, and I get it. And here's part of the secret to this whole thing, I think. I heard this from John Maxwell, because he struggled in one of his series. He's one of the best writers out there, I think, when it comes to leadership and that kind of thing. And I think when your help or when your replacement or your potential replacement can do 80% as well as you can, be okay with 80%. And as control freaks, that's really hard. And I know I'm talking to you as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Carey Ann.
it took me 8 or 9 months to let go. When I made the decision I was going to let go, I really did. I let go of a pinky.
Right.
But it really took a long time for me to let go. But as soon as I did, and again, with that came the bumps and the trust and things that you had to rebuild. But I mean, quadrupled, the business and I was able to help many more people because I was able to stay within the lane, and I was, instead of getting up at 4:00 doing this piece of the work, I was able to work on my business versus work in my business. And that made a huge difference. But I also, being that control freak, I was one that feels like I'm better today because I did wear all the hats, right? I don't like to say, do that type of job without me saying, well, I was able to do that job. Now I know what you're going through. I know the stress that you go through, within that particular job. But I think if you worked closely with the contract to close person and they walked you through it together, right? So call, move, step, right? The whole way through.
That's the argument, is that you don't learn how to do it yourself. And, that is not the truth. I've had a contract to close from my very first deal and still do. And I learned how to do it properly
with that person.
Right.
And their processes.
Yes.
The right way, because you're right, because they're trained and know how to do it inside and out.
Here's the real rude awakening not awakening, but the reality of that situation, again, for those who are struggling with the topic, and that is, be okay that contract to close isn't going to be as great as you are. You have to. That's why I go back to John Maxwell saying, if they can do it 80% as well as you can, be okay with that.
Sure.
If you want to grow, if you want to become better. And in that process of delegating, you can still learn the pieces along the way, but don't be so controlling that you have to, nobody can do it as well as you can. I get it. Yeah. Nobody can do it as well as I can. But with all that I've got on my plate, I've had to be okay. You know what? I would have done that a little bit differently. But that's okay. We're going to get to the finish line. My client's still going to love me, and it's going to be okay.
And I'm a big believer, you can't create success looking in your rearview mirror. Like, I can't keep looking backwards. I have to keep looking forwards. So with a situation that does pop up, we learn our lesson. We all grow together, and we make positive changes for A, that to never happen again, or B, how can we tweak that, and hey, empower them to say, hey, if I was to be part in doing this particular action, I would sprinkle a little bit more of this on to it, and we do a lot of coaching with my group. I mean, 2 hours of coaching every week is a lot, but I think it's super important if you're trying to maintain something consistent, across the board.
I think that's incredible about your team, Carey Ann, where you, no matter how busy things are, no matter how crazy, you still dedicate time where you're always training, always teaching, always building, always encouraging, always helping them become better.
Well, I will say this, in any business, COVID has taught us a lot of things. We have no control. We've been stripped of control, right?
That's the big one.
And we are overwhelmed. Sometimes we're frustrated. Sometimes we might even despise the business that we're in. We forget all the emotions that so many other people have that are coming at us. We got to remember why we got into this business, right? Why we love this business,
others.
why you're making the first step in the direction of being in the real estate business, right? And so we remember all those, but then we also have to remember what our core beliefs are. And it's really easy to fall off the wagon. And my core beliefs are never missing a closing date, always staying true to my word, and always doing what's right for the consumer and our refer partner. But I got to make sure everybody believes the same, right, across the board, from the receptionist to the application person to the
You're all rowing the same way that
right,
way.
exactly. To the underwriter, to the closer. If I get everybody rocking it out, believing the same things, and then we get to the closer who's like, I don't really care if I get the CD out. Like, what part of that doesn't make any sense, right? So when you put together a team of people, they need to be complements to you, right? They need to fill in those voids. I think that's super important, and you can really grow something amazing. And like you said, the contract to close is awesome because you actually don't have to give them a W-2 or 1099 or pay insurance or anything like that, right?
I love it.
It's a huge win for you as a business owner.
Until after it happens, and you're not paying them unless you're doing something,
Right.
You're not. It's not like an employee. The next step, of course, is to hire somebody. And when the first time of course, back in the day, back in the 80s when I got involved, there were no such thing as a contract to close. So I had to hire somebody. The person I hired her when I understood that, okay, I need some help, but I didn't have the money to hire them. So I paid them a percentage of my income. Okay, here's a helper. Here's a little gold nugget here, guys. When you do that, imagine this happening. You're going to make more than what you've ever made before. Okay, that's what's going to happen. If you get a good person and they start taking the things off your plate that used to bog you down, you're going to make more. So my point is, if you do set up an arrangement where you're going to pay them a percentage, don't work off the percentage you're making right now. Assume that you're going to make a lot more. What happened to me was, this is back in the 80s, I hired somebody at $10 an hour, which was a decent wage back then. Okay, that was good.
I was $24,000 a year.
But that's job, what it was based on. A percentage of my income equaled $10 an hour. Okay, by the time I had her in place for 3 months, I was suddenly paying her $17 an hour. That started bothering me because I'm thinking, oh my God, I could have, what can I do 17? Because that was big money back then.
Sure.
Okay?
Right.
And so when I went to her and said, look, this isn't what I wanted to do, she took offense for some reason and quit when I lowered it back down. So I'm saying,
why? Their money?
I can't figure that out.
Wait a minute, I want to give me some of that money back here. Let's.
My point is, think it out.
Life Lessons by Monte Moore.
Hey, I will tell you, that happens to me. It happened to me multiple times. I had a budget in my mind, and all of a sudden strategies are working and we are growing, but all of a sudden I was way out of my budget. Like it went so fast, so quick. And so now my strategy is a little bit different, which means I have to pay a lot more money on the upfront, but my goal is to see the growth later, and I should be, fine. Because all of a sudden they're making more, you're making more, everybody's so happy, but then you're utilizing all the extra money to refund or pay into your business, to go to another level. But, I learned that I was first job, hoped to make $50,000 out of college. I got offered $24,000 as in the mortgage business, and I made over six figures my first year because they offered me a percentage off of everything I did, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. I got there at 6 a.m. and I left at 9 every single night, and I busted a groove, and so I figured it out, right? So if you have people like me, also know that I wanted to be something more. So this is the other. You have to figure out who you're hiring as you add more people to your team. If you want really awesome people, just make sure they don't want to be you. Because if they, all of a sudden, they're going to go a different direction, right? So the person that hired me, now I'm a different,
to be them,
and now all of a sudden I'm over here, right? And they're left in the dust. But thank you. You trained me. I really appreciate everything, that I learned to be more successful. So hiring a team there's so much into it, and that's another whole class we could do, for a different day.
Well, there's cost-effective ways too, especially starting out. One of the best investments I made was a virtual assistant.
Yeah, huge.
And I started out with just paying for 10 hours a week. A virtual assistant, and that was huge, absolutely, because I couldn't afford a salaried or a 40-hour a week employee, because you got all the other layers on. So that's another way to leverage your time, is get some of those daily tasks that you don't need to worry about, train them on those, and you're paying a fraction of the price.
Well, I mean, before COVID, I wanted to see you. Make sure you're really working. Now with COVID, everything's virtual anyway. So you should totally embrace that virtual assistant concept. I think that's huge.
Even though we have other people in place, I still have my VA. I love her. She's fantastic. We chat daily, and she gives me a list of everything she's done, and it's fantastic.
Amazing. So even kind of talking about leveraging from a marketing standpoint, what are some strategies, joining forces with other people local? What other ways can you leverage to not only organize your daily business, but to grow your business? What do you think?
So as far as your team,
so like what else would you do to leverage your time, or like to bring back more time so you're able to market in a way to gain more traction out there, right? So meaning connecting with the lender, right? Now, not every lender is having a bunch of lead opportunities just thrown at them, but how can you work closely with them to leverage the cost, right? Or to join forces
you're talking about like events and things of that nature.
Yeah, you could do that. The other thing I was thinking, now that we're online, I got asked to be part of a women's group, right? And the women's group is my eyeshadow should be this color. What am I wearing for the party? To me, I get on there and say, who are the business owners within this group? Who, right? And so then I extracted people within that group, and I started another group. Does that make sense? So I leveraged the invite of the 3,000 people, right? And then I decided to get exactly what I needed out of that, and moved over here and started creating some other things, right? So how else would someone without a lot of income to throw, at Zillow and all these other crazy, lead organizations and things to gain leads, how would you leverage that? What do you think?
Well, I think one way to do it, of course, everybody knows about BNI, that you could join BNI and gather that kind of inertia from a group
I can never get
professionals.
The mortgage seat's always taken.
The mortgage and the real estate seat are always tough ones. Another way, though.
Plus, they meet at 6 o'clock, and I don't look like this at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I thought you always did. Come on. Another thing, though, I heard somebody one time do is they created their own group.
Yeah.
Okay. They created their own group of professionals, and they put a couple of each venue in that group. And I think that was probably even smarter than, and no offense to BNI, I think it's great organization. But I think putting together your own and having a monthly get together and rubbing elbows and so forth. But I also think finding vendors like yourself, Carey Ann, that will partnership in some efforts, I think is crucial as well. Because, and unfortunately, too often I think some folks want to lead with their hand out rather than lead with business, and start developing value there. But that's how we got started together. Obviously, as we started working together on some projects, and I saw, wow, this is a great relationship.
Yeah, and it's not always about the dollar, because if you're expecting me to spend the dollar, then the other party has to spend the dollar. So if you don't have the dollar, what other things can we do that don't cost as much money, right? Right. Online, gatherings, right, don't cost as much. I mean. I used to have to buy lunches and breakfasts and stuff. Now we're having functions, that no one's eating. So I'm like, hey, this is good. It saves me a bunch of money. But how do you get the people to the party, right? Now you're paying money on ads versus different things. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And then sometimes agents maybe just think of a lender, right? There's title, there's inspectors, there's appraisers. I hang with appraisers because they're so knowledgeable, and I want to know what you're looking for, right? Like make the connections of everybody, right? Everybody that would be part of the transaction, and how can you really become besties per se? Not that you're getting any extra perks, or it's not like he's appraising my property anymore, but his knowledge will help me. And I'll leverage from a marketing standpoint to maybe turn your head, right? Or maybe turn a consumer's head, best practices for the consumer, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of unique ways, that you can leverage all of the professional skills out there in our industry, for sure.
Building your extended team is so vital to your business. Like you're saying, is to have, go ahead and meet with people and start interviewing and talking to people. Like you were saying, even with the home warranties and insurance and all of that stuff, and build those relationships. That's very big in a business. And that's another thing, as a new agent, you should be doing that right off the bat.
You should be. And I think it starts, though, with not going out there and trying to reinvent the wheel yourself, but get some referrals. Talk to 3 people. Let's say you are newer to the business and you want to know, who should I use for a title company? Who should I use for a mortgage company? Who should I use for an inspector? Don't just go out there and experiment on your own. I mean, God bless you. Nothing against your opinion about something, but I'll never forget the first mortgage professional I worked with had 6 of my transactions lined up, and none of those closed because I didn't know how to interpret a good one from a bad one because I didn't bother to reach out to a few people that could recommend, you know, a professional in that venue, whatever that was. And so now I think a newer person ought to reach out to somebody. Success leaves clues. We all know that. So reach out to just like what we're asking our clients to do is, or hope that they do is to refer business to us from a personal standpoint. Don't just go out there and use a mortgage company because they brought great donuts or because your office necessarily has promoted it. Make sure that has been vetted by somebody that you trust. Well, somebody's doing it every day.
Coming from the new agent perspective, I see a lot is they don't comprehend the importance knowing the difference in loan officers. They had this perception, which I can understand how, is that loan officer is no different from the next one because all they're doing is checking off boxes. All right, do they have the income? Okay, do they have the debt?
So not true.
It's done. It's either they're going to get approved or not. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
And that is devastating when you finally figure that out and you've lost deals.
Right. I think it's so important. It doesn't matter what profession you are. I want to work with people that believe in the same business core beliefs that I do, right? Like if you're going to go out and interview a lender, ask them what their core business beliefs are. If they say, don't know what you're talking about, then we got a problem.
That's a good sign.
Step one, that's the problem, right? Because they're not operating their business like a business, right? So I would love to help everybody, and I'm always opening my hand to help anybody that is in need. But the people I love working with are people who run their business like a business because the process is so smooth. It is just, I mean, wonder how we close loans so quickly is because a lot of the people we work with are operating their business exactly the same ways. And we're working with contract to close people. They're getting our stuff very timely. There's not a lot of this back and forth, chaos. So step one, finding that right person. Step two, I do think having a solid number two is important. I have a number two. She and I need to write a book because everybody wants a Sam, right? And she has a abbreviation for Sam. It's something, something, something. And so, but she is my number two. Keeps me organized. Make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. I shine because I have a number two. I would think that would be the most important. As in that number two can be virtual, right? That number two can be a person.
I would say, eventually there's a lot of benefits to having somebody in office, definitely. But, as you're growing your business, you don't have that money to pay for a Sam right off the bat.
Or a Chrissy.
My
Sam
or Chrissy.
Chrissy.
Yeah,
Chrissy
absolutely.
is amazing. She's just amazing.
So you would want to eventually be able to have a Sam and Chrissy, but as you're getting started, don't think you have to go out and spend so much.
I see a lot of people, again, I made $24,000 my first year, right? And I had Carey Ann and company. Like it was like I had a team without a team, right? So you have to invest that money and see the bigger picture. It's so when you're really in that box, you're like, oh, I want to make this, but I can't afford to pay that because I need to make, this. And then all of a sudden you just aren't expanding. You're just staying within. So knowing if you can spend a little to make a little, it's hard in the lending industry with my loan officers that I coach. It's just, they don't want to spend, they want me to spend, but they don't want to spend. But I think when you start to spend your own money, you take ownership of it, right? And you you want to make them better and you want your team to be better. And it's just a big win across the board. I think I'm a big believer.
I think we'd see a lot higher ratio of success in our industry, real estate industry, if people would invest in themselves, if they would take ownership like you started, Jason, treating it like a business. You don't see a whole lot of McDonald's fail. You know why? Because there's a hell of an investment going into the thing. Okay, there's a hell of a requirement to do
on
it.
the upfront.
You can't go in there and say, "Oh, I think I'm going to put the French fryer over here in the right hand corner instead of the left hand side," or all this kind of stuff.
Nope.
There's a pattern that works.
That is not the speedy system.
And then and you've got an investment that you've made that you're going to get out of bed in the morning. You're not going to I don't want to get up this morning because of the bar you had to step over to get here. Sometimes I think real estate has been too easy to get into. They don't think it's a business. They think it's a casual experience. They've been watching Property Brothers. Well, all I got to do is show 3 properties and they're going to pick it out. Or they sat across the table from somebody who didn't do our job, our industry justice, and they saw that, wow, all they did is open the door for us, and they're collecting a $20,000 check. I can do that.
Right.
And that's how the misconceptions continue on, down here. So treat it like a business. I can't overemphasize that.
Yeah. And just create those relationships, really strong, deep relationships. You can call me up and ask, hey, do you know of something, right? A good CPA, a good business attorney, whoever you need to ask, I probably will know it because I've taken the time to build those relationships, right? So that would be something amazing too, as you start to build your business. Start filling in, right? All the professions you would want to know and have deep relationships with, and start filling those in, because you never know who's going to know. And then you're leveraging that relationship off of that, and you're making connections. We're in this room together because of that exact same concept. Somebody introduced me to you. We hit it off. That led to me getting to meet you, and you and I, how did we meet there, Jim? I don't remember.
Monte.
We did meet through Monte. There we go. Actually, I felt like he was a sign when I heard your voice in the middle of the night when I would wake up, and because you're on TV doing those voiceovers. So I'm like, Jim's in the room. It was a sign. We would always think,
around.
There you go. I love it. Plus you look like Willis. Brucey.
That's right.
There you go.
His
good stuff.
heavier older brother.
A quick side note on what you're sharing, Carey Ann, is also, be sensitive to your level of business or what you're bringing. And what my point of that is, let's take your industry, for instance. As a newbie, I can't spread my love, what little love I have as a new agent. Let's say I'm doing 3 deals a month, which is pretty busy agent. I can't put one in your hands, one in somebody else's hands, and one in somebody else's hands and expect me to make any sort of impression in anybody's mind. Okay, I'm not saying that we should always put everything in one basket. I am saying, though, that you can't expect more than what you're putting in to coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sure.
But my point is, I see sometimes agents not really being loyal to the vendor that they're wanting expertise from. And not that you're ever going to give any less than all you can give. I'm just saying that it's got to be a win-win relationship, not just for me as the agent. It's got to be a win for you. How do I do that? By being loyal. I developed this thing called loyalty, and I give you every opportunity that I can with maybe have a backup just in case there's something you can't do or something, but I'm going to be loyal as best I can to that vendor, whether that's a title company or whether that's an insurance company.
Yeah. And again, if the core beliefs match and it's a good fit, I think that is super important, because you get further working together and building that deeper and having that deeper relationship.
That's
for
what
sure.
I'm talking about.
I think that is really important, but I think it's super important for the lender to never take any profession to ever take for granted the relationship that you have. And I coach on this all the time. I think it's so important for me to do my best every day. And,
absolutely.
They say satisfied customers will bankrupt your business. We have to remember that. And so you and I are friends and we're close friends, but I still have to provide that service level and that expectation that you have within me always, right? And if I'm going to, if I'm going to hire more people, they have to be a complement, to that, et cetera. So I think that's important too. Just handing somebody, if they don't work their rear off to wow you on that particular deal, then maybe that's not the right relationship anyways, right? I mean, they should really just be in it to win it with you. It's a partnership, true partnership, I believe.
Well, and that comes, to what I've always said, if I expect excellence out of me, I'm going to expect excellence out of everybody that I do business with. And if you're not hitting that bar, we're going separate ways, because it's just not going to work out.
Right. We have a transaction right now and the value came in low. I think the builder, we won't go there, hot mess. I think, not sure the dreams of what they have. They just closed a house not even 2 weeks ago, and it was $25,000 less for 80 square feet less. Does that make sense? So it wasn't adding up, right?
Okay.
So the value didn't come in correctly. But however, the builder's stomping his feet. This buyer's wanting this house. What are we to do? The buyer is paying all their closing costs. The only thing that I could see, because one of my core beliefs, and the agent knows my core beliefs, is always doing what's right for the transaction for both parties, consumer and referral partner. I went ahead and covered $12,000 of that particular closing cost to make up the difference. Did I make very minimal money? Yes. However, it's not about me making top commission on every single transaction. It's about the partnership that I've had with one individual for the last 6 years, right? And working it out, and her knowing that I've got her back, and us trying to find a solution. I'm in the business of creating solutions to mortgage problems, and I try to do that with the partnerships that we have. So somebody new out there, finding that person that will be somebody who will create solutions for you is what you're looking for. And there's amazing people in our industry. And then there's also some that we shouldn't have in our industry. And we all have those in both industries, right? But find the person that believes the same things you believe in from a business standpoint. It's important.
Jason, any other leverage tools that come to mind?
One thing that you can leverage is showing assistance. You can hire that out.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah. Because especially living in Middle Tennessee, you can have buyers all over the place. So it's good to even be a part of a place, like we are, where we have agents that are north of Nashville, south, and all over the place. So you're paying a little bit up front, but you're gaining all that time back.
Do they have to be licensed to show a house? Oh, they do. Okay. I do know, like with mortgage.
Yeah. So we usually partner up with another realtor in the office.
Great idea.
Like
yeah. Wonderful idea. Because you're right. What if you have 6 listings, you have a bunch of open houses? They can maybe hold an open house for you too.
Oh yeah.
Which could spark some lead opportunities for them.
Well, you can give a brand new agent the chance to go out and just show some homes for you, and then you can write the contract. I mean, there's all kinds of combinations.
That's
One
great.
of the things I do is I look at our team as we're growing here, and I will identify some of the agents who have been doing this for a little while and say, look, we need to sit down with you and help you grow your team, because you're going to hit a ceiling if we don't think about expansion. And it could start as simple as, I mean, we're talking about already having the foundation in place, whether that's C2C or whether that's a virtual assistant or something. But now we need to help you not be out there running around with buyers all the time, because they can absorb a lot of time. And the only way you're ever going to leverage yourself, and that's what we're talking about here, is to start focusing more on listings and letting somebody else work those buyers, and be okay about taking part of that commission rather than having to have all of it.
Well, and that's you're operating there with on volume. You have so much business that you're not going to get all of it because you're going to split it with somebody. But guess what? That's freeing you up to get more volume. All right, and that's just part of the economies of scale, that you're just growing.
Yeah,
sure.
And there's so many different ways that you can be smart and not spend a lot of money. But as you grow, you can just, again, go back to the layering on. You can layer in these showing assistants. You can layer in, if you're going to start building that team, a buyer's agent. You could even get down to having people, pay people to go put out open house signs for you.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways, and you can be smart about it. The problem is that I see so many agents protect that money because they don't want to spend it. That's $300 I'm spending on contract to close that I could keep.
Right.
But
scarcity mindset.
It's scarcity. Yeah,
absolutely.
Perfect.
From a place of
but
lack.
what are you losing? But we've already
thinking smart is key. Any other things that we could leverage out there?
I could go all day on this.
Oh yeah, but automation, CRMs. I mean, so many different things.
Technology, old school papers out.
You can do your social media. I mean,
COVID's making me conform. I like my paper, but I'm learning technology. I'm embracing that. But you're right. I mean, I will tell you, I used to have to drive, talking about leverage, I used to have to drive from Mount Juliet to Hendersonville to Murfreesboro. I've now been able to hit every city in a 2-hour window on Zoom. And then talk to 300 agents, right? I mean, amazing what we're able to do. Right. So there's a lot that we've been able to learn through our technology and how we can use it to still get the bang for the buck. How about instead of doing your if you can't do the face-to-face because of COVID and concerns of COVID for listing appointment stuff, you can still do Zoom meetings, right? Yeah. I mean, I think that is another added layer over on top of just a phone call, don't you think? I mean, now I get to see you. Right. I get to, see you in your eyes.
A little side note here. Have y'all seen the new Microsoft thing that they're
Teams?
Where you're actually sitting in an audience now instead of so how we have virtual backgrounds.
Yeah.
They'll actually place you next to each other. So
Really?
Oh, really?
That's kind of cool.
That's kind of scary. Actually.
Cool. Yeah.
next step is the hologram here.
Oh, I know. Woo! Well, a lot of things can be done. If you guys are needing some other ideas, you can definitely reach out to Talk Music City. We'd love to give you some more strategies on leveraging and how to leverage your business. So thank you again for joining us. We will see you next week. For more episodes, visit talkmusiccity.com. We'll see you soon.